Hello, server 764. I wanted to give you guys a brief tutorial on the codes, the code 87, the code 64, and code 39, because as you can see, it's very close, right? This is less than a 5% difference between us and the other server. So the first things first, when you attack, make sure you are, I still have my 5 attacks left, make sure you are using your first squad 5 times. It'll take you 5 minutes. I know it'll be faster. You can do it in 2 minutes if you send your second and third squads, but please send your first squad. I think that alone, I've seen some people sending. I've seen some of those blue heroes waddling their way over to this butcher over here, and it's just like you're not going to get the max amount of points. You're just trying to get it over with in 2 minutes. It'll be much faster that way, yes, but you will not get nearly as many points for the server if you don't only send your first squad. So that's the first thing. Only send your first squad. The second thing is it's not that much time and effort to actually rotate out your squad. So if you actually look at this, let's watch this replay. This replay, you will notice if you watch, there is no damage happening. You have, I believe, there's 1 damage at a time. So you don't need tanks in the front, or you don't need people to soak up damage. And so this means you can put 5 damage dealers. This is me experimenting a little bit. We'll talk about that later. But make sure you're putting in your 5 highest damage dealers. Now, the other thing is, I'll just show you real quick, is it says that no one died. It's just battle timeout. We're just trying to rack up as much damage as possible. The other thing is, if you're wondering who to put, this is the missile heroes, and obviously I don't do as much damage because I don't get the 50% buff. However, my missile heroes are extremely weak. They're all around level 100, and so these heroes are just going to flat out do more damage because of their higher levels and higher stars. So make sure you keep that in mind. I would say in general, just do your 5 highest damage dealers. All right. Looking at your squad then, so you're going to take out your tanks because you don't need tanks anymore, and you're going to do your best damage dealers, right? And so for me, that's DVA, and probably my next best one would be Morrison, but I'm actually going to put in Mason, and you'll see why in a second. The other thing is I'm going to put Marshall in the front, and I'm going to put Mason in the back. And the reason I'm going to do all that is if you look here at his passive skill, his S3, it says boost back row tank heroes damage versus monsters in battle by 15%, however many stars you have. This is important. This is absolutely useless when it comes to PvE, but I still recommend putting some points in it, but not too many. This is absolutely useless in PvP, but versus this monster and all the other monsters, this is a big boost. Now, this only applies to tank heroes. It doesn't apply to aircraft or missiles, and it only applies to the back row. Now, remember I said I was experimenting. If you look here at the Monica, her skill 2, is it skill 2? Oh, here it is. Boost your damage against monsters by 13% in battle. If your Monica is high enough, and you get a lot of free shards for her, so she is probably at least 4 stars. You will increase your damage input. So I would toy with, do I put in Monica? Do I put in maybe another damage dealer? And you can test that out. So that is why I put Mason in. And I think there's an argument because my Kim is my strongest damage dealer. So my Kim is going to go into every single lineup, whether or not it's missile, aircraft, or tank. If you have all the highest damage dealers, then again, you can play around with the different lineups. But I would say do something like this, right? Marshall is great, is another one that's great for all lineups because he just boosts everyone's damage. And then you do that testing, and see what gets you the most, right? So that's the second phase that Hot Rod was talking about. The first phase is make sure you send your first squad. That's non-negotiable. The second phase is tinker with your squad a little bit, right? It doesn't take that much time to pull people around and move your squad around, right? So that's the first thing. Oh, put Marshall. Put in Marshall. All right. The last thing you can do is you can go, oh, if I look here at my Mason doesn't have leveled up gold gear. However, if I go here at my Murphy, I can go ahead, I can remove, which are both of these level 10, and I go over to Mason, and I quick equip. This is also something you can do. So right now I have the Puma Cannon, which gives me that 10% boost on counters. This is absolutely key for these wanted codes, is this mythic Puma Cannon. And so if this were an aircraft, what I would do is I would actually remove this. I would put it on DVA, quick equip, right? You would see it here on DVA. And then I would then shift it down. Now my Stepman doesn't get this. I remove that. I put that on my Kim. Find her right there. So this is like the next stage of trying hard, is moving your equipment around, right? And this is how you absolutely min-max your damage output. I know that takes a little bit of extra time, but I definitely recommend doing that, especially if you're on the cusp of like, oh, I'm almost at 500,000 points to get that next tier of rewards. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this on Mason because I'm going to be using him soon. I don't think I have any other better equipment. Let's see. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, no, that's fine. Where'd it go? There it is. Let's remove this. Let's put on the level 10 for this one that's coming up, and then equip the Puma Cannon. And I should have now a maxed out squad for the purposes of attacking this butcher that'll spawn in 38 minutes. Now, obviously, don't do really anything else with this squad because otherwise you'll lose troops, like if I were to do the Monica's events. So you just do this for the code 87 or whatever code it is, and then once you're done with those 5 minutes with those 5 attacks, then you go ahead and you can move everything back to normal. All right, I hope this was helpful, and I hope this helps us get over this hump. This isn't a very big difference. This is just us maybe not min-maxing our squads, using our first squad, putting 5 damage dealers instead of 2 tanks in the front, and using the proper DPSs. Again, you can 100% kind of test your squad against itself. All right, have a good day. I hope this was helpful. Bye.